Hey guys, it's Reynad back with another deck tech, and it's nice to be doing these regularly again, hopefully, now that the website is finally relaunched. Hopefully you guys like it, and thanks to all of you who, stayed subscribed throughout that whole situation. It's really you guys that, let me be able to just afford a decent web developer to just make the site the right way. And we'll keep working on it so it all looks better. Every few weeks you'll see consistent updates. Anyway, today I'm here with Mage, and this is a deck that a lot of people were asking me about after seeing it in the Battle of the Best tournament yesterday. I'm recording this the day after, so yeah, this deck's pretty great. It's similar to the list I was playing kind of after, right after GvG came out, but with the exception of the Mad Scientist Mirror Entity package, which I think is pretty strong. So anyway, let's go through the cards, kind of explain why things are in here. We have Clockwork Gnome and Cogmaster as the 1-drops, of course, pretty standard in most mech decks. I was playing Mana Worm for a while, but I just realized this card isn't really necessary as far as 1-drops go. Because I cut the Unstable Portal to fit in Mad Scientist, it's not possible to reliably buff this card on turn 2. So it was just a little bit weaker than it would be in other lists. It's still good with the spare parts and all of that, definitely a strong card, but it's so hard to fit all the things I wanted to play. Basically, if you're seeing more aggressive decks like Zoo, I recommend adding Mana Worm. Also probably good in the mirror match. But if you're seeing more control decks, I recommend cards like Black Knight, Lotheb, that kind of stuff, which is what I'm playing here. So maybe for ladder, Mana Worm might be better. I'm not 100% sure yet. I'm sure it'll change day to day. Anyway, got the 1-drops, Frostbolt, Fireball. Basically, you get them low early, just like most aggressive decks, and then they have to kill you before you draw your burn to finish the game. So, usually want to save these for face if you can, but feel free to use Frostbolt early on to keep control of the board. I have one Annoytron. This is one of the cards I had to shave in order to fit cards like Water Elemental, Lotheb, Blingtron, that stuff, because there's just not enough room otherwise. Now, this does mean that because this deck plays a few less mechs than other lists with, like 2 Annoytron piloted Shredder, your Tinkertown Technicians and your Blast Mages are going to be a little bit weaker sometimes, which can come up, but it's usually not an issue. I still feel like this is a pretty reasonable amount of mechs to reliably trigger those. Mad Scientist Mirror Entity, this is the package that really just destroys control decks. Scientist gives you, It really is just the most broken 2-drop, especially in Mage, because you have 3 mana secrets, so they're the highest impact secrets. And Mirror Entity has just been fantastic. This card just... There's some decks that just can't beat the tempo swing you get when, you just trade off Scientist. It's so hard to lose if you have a good curve. Anyway, Mech Warper, we have, just pretty standard, the most broken, I guess, mech card. This lets you get some really snowbally starts, especially when you have coin. Drawing 2 of them will usually win you the game. Definitely a powerful card, of course. Snow Chugger, the mech of Mage, definitely one of my favorite class mechs. This is the reason that we can play Blingtron is because we have 4 copies of Water Elemental, but I'll get to that later. But definitely just a great card on its own, very powerful effect for 2 mana, good stats. Enables all of your Tinkertown and Blast Mage cards, so pretty solid. Now, Harvest Golem is a card I'm playing instead of Spider Tank because, like I mentioned earlier, I have fewer mechs than other Mech Mage lists, so the mechs that I do play, I need them to be sticky. If I played Spider Tank, it would have more power, but it would just die to True Silver Champion or Despite. So Harvest Golem is better, I think, because it more reliably gives you a turn 4 Blast Mage or a Tinkertown Technician, so that's why I'm playing that instead of Spider Tank. Tinkertown, of course, one of the cards that really rewards you for playing Mech, 3 mana 4/4, just pretty insane. Gives you spare parts, which is also very important because that gives you the Antonidas Plan B, which we'll get to later. But yeah, great card. Blast Mage, of course, one of the best just rewards for being a mech deck in the entire game for any class. This card is just insane for pretty obvious reasons. I mean, you play it on curve and you'll pretty much always win the game. Water Elemental is the card that I'm playing instead of Piloted Shredder. Card's great on its own, of course. Been pretty standard in a lot of more aggressive mage. Just a lot of any mage deck that plays creatures has pretty much played Water Elemental, just because its stats are so insane. So we are playing that. It's a pretty nice reward of being Mage, for sure. It just gives us really high power level cards across the board. Something like Piloted Shredder is also a good card, but it's not like... Well, honestly, I think Water Elemental is just better in a lot of cases, and the thing here is Blingtron. This is why we're playing Water Elemental plus Snow Chugger. This is the card that a lot of people were kind of surprised by and thought was pretty cool about the deck, and it is really good. This is the reason I'm playing Water Elemental over Piloted Shredder. Basically, by playing 2 Snow Chugger, 2 Water Elemental, if you ever just like freeze them and then play Blingtron, it's pretty much a free win. Like, it's really tough to lose from that point because you're playing a 5-mana 3/4 mech, which is like pretty comparable stats to something like Azure, but then you're also getting a huge weapon. On average, the weapon has 4 attack. So you're getting a huge weapon, they're getting nothing, and you're like drawing a weapon, playing a weapon, and attacking with it, compared to something like an Azure Drake. It's just a lot more powerful, and this is a mech, which can come up like the turn after. You can play your Tinker Towns and Blast Mages and stuff. But yeah, definitely just an insane card. Sometimes you'll play it turn 4 off a Mech Warper. But yeah, it's just insane with the Water Elementals and the Snow Chuggers. So it can definitely win you games that you have no business winning too. Like, you just play it, get a Gore Howl, and just burst them. So yeah, super good card. I like it. Pretty fun too, as long as you're not getting Light's Justice. We got Loatheb, which I think is still a pretty degenerate card. Any deck that's proactive, aggressive, has an early curve, can reliably get control of the board, it should just be playing Loatheb. I mean, it's so insane if you have the lead when you play it. You just win the game. So I think this is I've seen other, like, I think Kalento's list isn't playing this card, which is kind of ridiculous to me, because it's like even good with your Fireballs and Frostbolts, because you'll play it and you'll almost always guarantee getting to hit them at least once with it. So yeah, not playing Loatheb just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. The Black Knight's kind of a tech choice, I guess. I don't play Polymorph, I don't play Ironbeak Owl, so taunts are like obviously going to be decent against your aggressive deck, so a lot of times your opponent will be forced to play into it. And just besides that, you're getting a lot of spare parts with this deck, right? Like, you have your Tinkertown Technicians and you have Clockwork Gnome. So what that means is you can use, when you get spare parts, a lot of times you'll get Rusty Horn, which gives a creature taunt, so you can combo Black Knight with Rusty Horn. So that's the reason I'm playing that. I don't have Yeti in here, so the spare part count isn't super high, but it's high enough that that's a combo that comes up pretty often. Dr. Boom, one of just like, I mean, this card is just insane. Honestly, it was like MVP of the tournament. I would just play it turn 7 and then just win the game. Like, if they're keeping track of stats on like the win percentage of a player after playing Dr. Boom, it has to be like 80% or something across the board. Like, you just play it and they lose the game in so many cases. And even if they have Big Game Hunter, who cares? You're the aggressive deck. You still got boom bots. They're still behind. They're not all. Most of the time they're not going to have Big Game Hunter even, and if they do, it's not that bad for you. You're still getting something out of the card. So this might just be the best card in the deck. Honestly, it's just been insane. And Antonidas, of course, this is kind of your plan against control decks. The game goes really long. You kind of run out of steam, you're running out of threats, and you just draw Antonidas, you play it with one of your spare parts. Sometimes you get the stealth spare part, sometimes you don't. And I mean, you just win the game. Like, you play Antonidas, they have to spend their whole turn dealing with your 5/7, and then if they can't, they're just dead. And even if they can deal with it, a lot of times they're low enough that just getting that one fireball is enough to win the game. So definitely a fantastic card. Against slower decks like Warrior and stuff, this is going to be your most important card. Ramp Druid, it's very good against as well. So yeah, that's the deck list. Hopefully you guys like it. Let's get to some games and kind of explain how to play it.